Mark Rogers TV wrapping up postseason play with the top 10 offensive performances from Power 5 players. Let's get to it. Number 10, Utah running back Joe Williams, 26 carries for 222 yards in a Foster Farms Bowl win over Indiana, 26-24. He had a touchdown. He had a 56-yard reception. This from a guy as the heir apparent to Devontae Booker, who quit football after 3 or 4 games. Gave it up, was beat up, banged up, sick of it, and then his team needed him a month later, and he stepped back into play and tore up the Pac-12, tore up the Hoosiers, and with many of these performances, you really had to see him. Joe Williams was a terror on this night against Indiana, and really in a hard-fought game, hard-hitting game was the difference. Number 9, Baylor wide receiver KD Cannon. We know the plight of the Bears this year with all the turmoil and offseason issues. 6 consecutive wins to start the campaign against, let's be kind, marginal opponents, horrible opponents. Okay, then they lose 6 consecutive games. They face Boise State as a near double-digit underdog in postseason play, and KD Cannon, a man amongst boys. 14 catches, 226, and 2 touchdowns as Baylor ran away from Boise State. All right, number 8, and we're going to hear a lot from this game, Penn State running back Quan Barclay, just look at the run that he made on the first drive of the second half to give Penn State its first lead in a game in which the Nittany Lions scored 7 consecutive touchdowns, 7 straight drives in the end zone. Saquon, it looked like Marcus Allen with, of course, the Marcus Allen on the sideline rooting for USC. Barclay looking like number 32 in USC colors. 25 for 194. He was over 200. Then he lost on his last 2 carries as Penn State was trying to seal the win. 2 touchdowns. He caught 5 for 55 and another touchdown behind a questionable offensive line. The Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year showed up in postseason play at the Rose Bowl for Penn State at number 8. Number 7, Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield, Heisman finalist, faces a defense other than Ohio State when he didn't look so good. And then he tore up the Big 12. And then he faced an Auburn defense that pretty much put the clamps on everybody, including Deshaun Watson. But the Sooners, Baker Mayfield, what a night. 19 for 28 at the Sugar Bowl, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran for 34. His offense totaled 504 yards against an Auburn defense that was elite all season. Baker Mayfield at number 7. All right, we go to Yankee Stadium in the Pinstripe Bowl for number 6 and Northwestern's Justin Jackson. If you haven't seen the Wildcats much over the last 3 years, this guy has been racking up 13 and 1,400-yard seasons with, until this season, really no support, lack of support from the passing attack. And against a favored Pitt team, Justin Jackson, after a slow start, went off. 32 carries for 224 yards rushing. He scored 3 times. And he caught a couple passes, and he was the difference as Northwestern upset Pitt. Number 5 goes to Alabama running back Bo Scarborough, looking like Derrick Henry, just a monster, and beating up a Washington defense that mostly had its way the majority of the season. Bo Scarborough, when Jalen Hurts in the passing attack was limited and Bama went conservative because the defense was so good, they gave it to Scarborough. Washington knew it was coming. They couldn't do anything about it. Bo ran 19 times for 180 yards and a touchdown in Bama's 24-7 win in the semifinal game. All right, we go back to the Rose Bowl. Penn State wide receiver Chris Godwin. What a game. 9 catches for $187 and 2 touchdowns. But as I mentioned off the top, you would have to see the plays that Godwin made against the USC secondary, one of the best in college football. Outfighting defenders for catches, high-pointing the football, streaking past USC defenders, making incredible one-handed catches. Just remarkable. Chris Godwin, what a game. What a showcase for him. Might have been the game's MVP, but we've got a couple of other names to throw your way from Pasadena. At number 3, we've got Oklahoma State quarterback Mason Rudolph. And Oklahoma State just annihilated Colorado 38-8, 22 for 32. And there were some drops in there, especially James Washington, who had another great game. Didn't quite make the top 10. You look at the description section. We've got our honorable mention as we took all these offensive performances, narrowed it down to 20, then down to 10. Mason Rudolph, 314 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Cowboys looked great at the Alamo Bowl. All right, number 2 and number 1, here you go. It's a great pass-catch combination at the Rose Bowl. Number 3 goes to Deontay Burnett, 13 catches, 164 yards, and 3 touchdowns to match his season total and the game-tying touchdown. So USC battles back from 14 down in the fourth quarter. Burnett catches the game-tying touchdown. And what a productive day for a guy that we don't know a whole lot about. Had decent numbers this season, but again, 3 in the regular season in the end zone and 3 in the Rose Bowl. And the score that got them even before the interception and the game-winning field goal. And at number 1, this was not a difficult selection. Despite all the performances in 41 bowl games, Sam Darnold, 33 of 53. Forget missing the 20 passes. Forget the numbers of completions and attempts. It was how he delivered under pressure as a freshman, the poise that he showed, the mobility in bringing back the Trojans from 14 down in the fourth quarter. Mobility to gain first downs with his legs and threaten the defense that we didn't necessarily know that he could do that to that extent, but also extending plays within the pocket and outside the pocket, delivering a Rose Bowl record, and they've been playing these games for a long time. 5 touchdown passes. He did throw the 1 pick, 454 yards. Sam Darnold, the best offensive performance from a Power 5 player during the 2016-17 bowl season. That's my top 10. I always want to hear from you. Always love to get the viewer comments right here on Mark Rogers TV.